At an Instant News Desk, this is Ben. Can you hold for a second? I'm recording an intro. When it comes down to cameras, Polaroid's got their brand locked down. Whereas there are several companies like Mint and Lomography that make Instax compatible cameras, there's only one brand that can spit out Polaroid photographs. But once upon a time, a little company called Berkey decided, fuck it, we're gonna make one. Today we're talking about the SX-70 compatible Berkey Wizard Everflash, and the failed attempt of a third party to make bank off the instant film craze. You're still there? Yeah. No, I'm making YouTube videos.
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben, and on today's breakdown, we're taking a look at one of the weirder situations that sprang out of the early days of integral film. As I said in the intro, one of the unique aspects of Polaroid in the entire world of photography is that their film and their cameras are a closed system. The film is branded Polaroid, it only works in Polaroid cameras, and no one else makes Polaroid cameras. That would be like if a brand invented 40mm film that only worked with that brand's 40mm camera. It just never happened. Polaroid was able to do it because no one else could figure out how the hell they even pulled this whole thing off. The chemistry and science took not only the genius of a visionary, but an incredibly long time to develop. Unlike the photos. And Polaroid's patents put a lockdown on every part and every intricacy of both the film units and the cameras. This method of doing business was not without contention. Once it became clear instant photography was more than just a cute little side project, competitors wanted a taste. Who can blame them? Who doesn't love a taste? Especially Kodak, who was helping Polaroid with the production of their peel-apart film, which was the primary type of film Polaroid made before inventing the SX-70. Kodak management was getting increasingly pissed off that they were helping Polaroid produce this stuff without the ability to sell Kodak-branded film. They were like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? We're Kodak. We sell Kodak film. People love us. We're never gonna die. So they nagged and nagged and nagged. I promise I'm getting to the Berkey thing, by the way. Anyway, they nagged and nagged Edwin Land. Please, Mr. Land, can we sell Kodak instant film or make cameras for it, please? And meanwhile, underneath Kodak's noses, behind closed doors, Edwin Land was inventing integral SX-70 film, formulating his plans to break away from Kodak altogether. So, in this sneaky moment, right before peel-apart film was going to become way less relevant to the industry, Land started to hand out some rope. Yeah, maybe you can make peel-apart film soon, not like anything bigger's coming that's gonna like upend the whole industry or something. And this little bit of leash was gripped onto by a small but veteran company out of New Jersey called Berkey Camera. Finally, sorry that took so long. Berkey Camera hit the ground running and released a cheapo peel-apart Polaroid compatible camera called the Keystone Everflash. And frankly, Polaroid just didn't give a shit at first. Berkey was the little engine that could. They battled for years as a relatively minor company up against Kodak, kind of knocking off Kodak cameras and getting into separate lawsuits with them over their monopoly on the industry, yada yada yada. Who hasn't been there? They had no fear and plunged into the instant photography game with their little helmets and their little spears ready to bite off a piece of the pie. In fact, the Everflash peel-apart camera was the first instant camera with a built-in flash, so these things were not without merit. Ironically, Ben Berkey, their founder, once had an opportunity to invest in Polaroid back in the 40s, but declined. So here was his chance to get some skin back in the game. Everybody loves skin. I mean, I've got a bunch I'm not planning to get rid of. So Berkey's got the Everflash, Kodak announced they're gonna make peel-apart film, and Edwin Land is all the while twiddling his little thumbs like a little devil, now getting on stage, upending everything, and announcing the SX-70. For Polaroid, this was the ultimate fuck you move to Kodak. Kodak had to scrap their plans and start over, eventually infringing on Polaroid's patents and releasing their own line of instant cameras and film. But those products were not Polaroid compatible. They were a separate thing altogether that led to the huge lawsuit and cost them $1 billion in damages. For Berkey, nothing really changed. They didn't produce film, only hardware. Yeah, they made packed film cameras that were now a lot less relevant, but they're Berkey. They roll with the punches. They'll do anything. They're They're crazy, they're absolutely crazy. So they throw caution to the wind, as you'd expect, and produce the Berkey Keystone Wizard Everflash, an SX-70 compatible instant camera. The funny thing is, unlike the insane blood battle with Kodak, Edwin Land was a lot less concerned with what Berkey was up to. In Land's mind, this SX-70, this beautiful and intricate work of craftsmanship, was Polaroid. This was the standard now, and they wouldn't stoop below it. The idea of a cheaper alternative was something he wasn't actively entertaining at the time. So, in a very un-Land-like move, he sort of let this plastic king of the doinkers slip through the cracks. If it led to more people buying film, the real moneymaker, maybe we'll just ignore it. At first. But before we continue, let's look at the camera. Why not? I think what you'd initially expect from a mid-70s plastic camera is something very light, like the SX-70 once that Polaroid ultimately did release. It's actually really dense, weighty. It does have metal parts, and some real build quality for sure. The lens is a fully manual zone focusing system that is honestly weird to see on a camera without a rangefinder or a real image viewfinder. So much of it is familiar but slightly off. It looks kind of like one of those Soviet film camera knockoffs. The Everflash also takes AA batteries, something insane to see on an instant camera from this period. And I thought at first, damn, it would be awesome to run I-type film through this, but unfortunately the AA's only power the flash. I really wanted to take some photos with this thing, but unfortunately I've not been able to get it to spit out film regularly. It jammed every time I tried to eject a photo, and the first time I turned it on, it made a popping sound and smelled kind of weird. So yeah, I've probably been like poisoned and will die before this video drops. Rest in peace, YouTube. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Anyway, what looked at first to be a surprising third-party entry into the world of Polaroid turned out to be all for naught. As you'd expect. Why haven't you heard of it? It's because of this. Berkey and Polaroid ultimately did go to court, but unlike the balls-out battle with Kodak, this lawsuit ended with the equivalent of like a slap on the wrist. Berkey made antitrust claims about Polaroid's stronghold on the instant film industry, and Polaroid claimed Berkey violated patents, so both kind of decided it's not really worth it, and they settled with no money trading hands. For Berkey, a company that slogged through court with Kodak and had to chop through weeds every step of the way in their history, this was only one of many gigantic headaches. Company president Harvey Berkey rightly assessed back then that there wasn't much money to be made in the hardware game. Film and film processing was where the real cash was coming from, and only Kodak and Polaroid had managed to rake in money at this point in the industry's history. So here we have the only true third-party Polaroid camera of all time. If you want to get technical, I guess you could say there are two others as well. The Minolta Instant Pro at first looks like a third-party camera, but in reality it was a licensing deal. It's just a rebranded Spectra Pro and still made by Polaroid. And the other would be the Impossible Project's i1. It's hard to really lump that in with the Keystone because Polaroid no longer existed at the time it was made and it utilized a new type of film. So there you have it. What a journey. As Polaroid's brand is now back with full force, we will likely never see anything like this again. 3 cheers to the king of the doinkers. Let's celebrate this doinker right here. Ugh. Thank you for watching in an instant. Go ahead and wreck that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more reviews, breakdowns, and all things instant. Bye. I don't know what we're doing here.